Ambassador Jiwoo Park stood in the center of the Galactic Council chambers. The massive hall stretched high above her, filled with representatives from 70 different species. Each one watched her with careful eyes. Some showed sympathy, others showed doubt. A few showed barely hidden contempt. She held a data tablet in her steady hands. The information on it made her blood run cold, but her face remained calm. 15 years of diplomatic training kept her expression neutral. 15 years of peace had taught her patience. "Honored Council," Jiwoo began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. "I bring troubling news about fleet movements near human colonies." High Commander Vexthul laughed from his platform. The Zancor military leader was tall with dark purple skin and 4 arms crossed over his chest. His teeth, sharp and white, gleamed as he smiled. "Ambassador Park worries too much," Vexthul said. "My people conduct simple military exercises, nothing more." Council mediator Ral Esh, a wise old being covered in soft blue fur, raised one hand. "Commander Vexthul, perhaps you could explain why these exercises happen so close to human territory?" Vexthul waved away the concern. "The humans fear shadows. 15 years ago, they won a war. Now they see threats everywhere." Jiwoo felt anger rise in her chest, but she pushed it down. Instead, she thought back to those dark days 15 years ago. The human-Zancor war had been brutal. It lasted 3 years. Millions died on both sides. She remembered the final battle. The human fleet had surrounded the Zancor homeworld. Every military computer showed the same result. Humanity could destroy the Zancor completely. One command, one button. The entire Zancor species would vanish from the galaxy. But Admiral Kim had made a different choice. He offered surrender terms instead. The Zancor gave up their war fleet. Every battleship, every weapon, everything. And humanity did something the galaxy had never seen before. They helped rebuild Zancor worlds. Human engineers fixed Zancor cities. Human doctors treated Zancor wounded. Human teachers shared knowledge and technology. The other species in the council called it foolish. They said humanity showed weakness. But Jiwoo's grandmother had explained it differently. "We won the war," she said. "Now we win the peace." For 15 years it worked. The Zancor recovered. Their economy grew. Their people prospered. And humanity asked for nothing in return except peace. "Ambassador Park?" Ralesh's voice pulled her back to the present. "You were saying?" Jiwoo nodded. "Yes. 3 days ago, our sensors detected 40 Zancor warships moving toward the border. We requested explanation. Commander Vexthul's office said they were exercises." "And they are," Vexthul interrupted. "Yesterday," Jiwoo continued, "we detected 70 more ships, all moving toward human colonies. We requested explanation again." Vexthul's smile stayed fixed. "More exercises." "Today," Jiwoo said, her voice dropping lower, "we detected over 200 Zancor warships, all positioned near our weakest colonies. Commander, that is not an exercise. That is an invasion force." The council chamber erupted in noise. Representatives shouted questions. Vexthul shouted denials. Ralesh called for order. "Enough!" The mediator's voice boomed. "Commander Vexthul, these are serious accusations." "From a species of liars," Vexthul snarled. His friendly mask slipped. "The humans claim they want peace, but they keep weapons. They keep fleets. They prepare for war while speaking sweet words." "We keep defenses," Jiwoo said quietly, "as does every species here, including yours, Commander, despite your surrender terms." Vexthul's eyes narrowed. "Careful, human. I am always careful," Jiwoo replied. "Which is why I wonder, why does the Zancor military need so many ships for exercises? Why position them near our colonies? Why now, after 15 years of peace?" Other council members nodded. Some whispered to each other. The room's mood shifted. Then Ji-Woo's tablet beeped. She glanced down. Her heart stopped. The message was short. 3 words in red text. They attacked us. She looked up slowly. Her eyes found Vex-Thul. The commander was smiling again, but this time it was different. This time it was cruel. "Ambassador?" Ralesh asked. "What is wrong?" Ji-Woo's hands trembled. She gripped the tablet harder. "I have just received an emergency transmission from Human Colony New Sol." The chamber went silent. New Sol reports a surprise attack by Zancor forces. The colony's defense platforms are destroyed. Casualties are estimated at 15,000 civilians. Gasps filled the room. Several representatives stood up. Ralesh's fur stood on end. "Lies!" Vex-Thul shouted. "More human lies!" "Colony New Busan reports similar attack," Ji-Woo continued, her voice hollow. 20,000 casualties. "This is propaganda," Vex-Thul roared. "Colony Harmony Station reports attack in progress, 12,000 dead, 30,000 wounded." The tablet fell from Ji-Woo's hands. It clattered on the floor. She stood perfectly still. Around her, the council descended into chaos. Species shouted at each other. Some demanded proof. Others called for immediate action. But Ji-Woo only stared at Vex-Thul. The commander stared back. His smile was gone now. In its place was cold satisfaction. 15 years, Ji-Woo whispered. "We gave you 15 years. You gave us weakness," Vex-Thul said. "You gave us the chance to rebuild, to grow strong again, and we took it. We gave you peace. You gave us mercy we never asked for, mercy we never wanted." Vex-Thul stood to his full height. "You should have destroyed us when you had the chance. Now you will learn what true warfare means." Ji-Woo closed her eyes. She thought of her grandmother, of Admiral Kim, of all the humans who chose peace over vengeance. They believed the Zancor could change. They believed mercy was strength. They were wrong. When Ji-Woo opened her eyes again, they were different. The warmth was gone. The hope was gone. What remained was cold and hard as steel. "Mediator Ralesh," she said, her voice cutting through the noise, "I hereby invoke Article 7 of the Galactic Charter. Humanity declares a state of war with the Zancor Imperium." The chamber fell silent again. "Furthermore," Ji-Woo continued, "I am authorized to inform this council that all human diplomatic personnel are being recalled, effective immediately." "Ambassador, please," Ralesh said, "let us discuss this. Let us find peaceful solution." Ji-Woo looked at the old mediator. Her expression softened slightly. "We tried peace, mediator. For 15 years we tried. We rebuilt their worlds. We healed their wounded. We gave them technology and medicine and hope." Her voice cracked. "And they returned it with death." She turned and walked toward the exit. Her footsteps echoed in the silent chamber. At the door, she stopped. She looked back at Vex-Thul one last time. "We gave you peace," she said quietly. "You chose death instead. Very well, Commander. You will have death. But not the quick death we could have given you 15 years ago. You will have the death of knowing that humanity showed you mercy once and you threw it away." "I am not afraid of your threats, human," Vex-Thul called out. Ji-Woo smiled. It was not a happy smile. "You should be, Commander, because this time we will show you exactly why we were merciful before. This time, you will learn what we are truly capable of when mercy is no longer an option." She left the chamber. Behind her, Vex-Thul laughed. But some of the older Zancor, the ones who remembered the war, did not laugh. They remembered, and they were afraid. Admiral Thexkor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Vengeance rising. Through the massive view screen, he watched another human colony burn. The sight filled him with satisfaction. "Fourth colony destroyed, Admiral," his tactical officer reported. Minimal resistance. Total casualties estimated at 30,000 humans. Excellent, Thexcor said. He turned to his crew. All of them wore expressions of pride. You see, the humans have grown soft. 15 years of playing diplomat made them forget how to fight. The bridge crew cheered. Thexcor smiled. For 15 years he waited for this moment. For 15 years he endured the shame of surrender, of watching humans rebuild Zancor worlds with their pitying hands, of accepting their medicine and technology like beggars. But High Commander Vexthul was smart. While humanity slept, believing in peace, the Zancor rebuilt their military. They studied human tactics from the old war. They trained new soldiers. They built new ships in secret facilities. The humans never noticed. They were too busy playing hero to the galaxy. Send word to command, Thexcor ordered. Tell them we are moving to the next target. Within 3 days, we will control 15 human colonies. Within a week, we will threaten Earth itself. Admiral, the communications officer said hesitantly, what about the human fleet? Surely they will respond. Thexcor waved dismissively. Let them come. Their fleet is small now. They dismantled most of their warships after the peace treaty. They believed their own propaganda about friendship and cooperation. He laughed. Fools. Far across the galaxy, Captain Minjun Choi received very different orders. He stood in the briefing room of the HSS Remembrance, studying the tactical display with careful eyes. 3 colonies destroyed, 1 under attack, 50,000 dead civilians. The anger in his chest was a living thing, but he did not let it control him. Admiral Kim, his mentor, taught him better. Anger makes you stupid, the old man always said. Calculation makes you victorious. Captain, his second officer said, we have weapons lock on the Zancor fleet attacking Colony Harmony. Permission to engage? Min Jun shook his head. Negative. Sir? The officer looked shocked. They are killing civilians. I know. Min Jun's jaw clenched. Record everything, every weapon signature, every tactical maneuver, every communication, but do not engage. Captain, we have families on that colony. I know. Min Jun's voice came out sharper than intended. He took a breath. Lieutenant Park, I know what I'm asking. But we have our orders. We record, we watch, we do not engage. Not yet. The lieutenant's hands trembled on his console. But he obeyed. The Remembrance maintained position, its sensors recording every detail of the Zancor attack below. On Earth, in a facility buried deep beneath the mountains, Dr. Sujin Lee worked frantically at her computer terminal. Around her, dozens of other scientists and engineers did the same. Red lights flashed, alarms beeped, the entire base hummed with sudden activity. Status? She called out. Guardian network coming online, one technician responded. Estimated full activation in 6 hours. Phantom fleet responding to wake-up protocols, another said. All ships reporting operational status. Dr. Sujin allowed herself a small smile. For 15 years she worked on these systems. For 15 years she hoped humanity would never need them. She thought about all the politicians who said humanity should disarm completely, who said keeping weapons was a betrayal of peace, but Admiral Kim convinced them otherwise. Peace is a choice, he told the World Council, but it must be a choice we can protect. We will offer the galaxy our friendship, but we will keep our weapons just in case friendship is not enough. He was right. He was so terribly right. Dr. Lee, her assistant approached nervously, are we really doing this? Are we really going back to war? Sujin looked at the young man. He was born after the last war ended. He never saw what humanity could do when pushed too far. He grew up in the peace years, believing the galaxy was safe. The Zancor attacked civilian colonies, she said quietly. They killed families, children, people who never hurt anyone. They did this because they thought we were weak. She turned back to her console. We are going to show them they were wrong. 3 hours later, Captain Min Jun received a new transmission. The encryption was maximum level. The sender was Fleet Command. His hands shook slightly as he decoded it. The message was short. Protocol Remembrance is now active. All ships are authorized to reveal true capabilities. Rules of engagement. Disable. Do not destroy. We are still human. Act accordingly. Min Jun sat back in his chair. Around him, his bridge crew read the same message. Their faces showed confusion. Sir, his tactical officer said slowly, I do not understand. What does reveal true capabilities mean? Min Jun smiled. It was not a nice smile. It means, Lieutenant, that for 15 years we have been pretending, and now the pretending is over. He pressed a button on his console. Engineering, remove all power limiters. Bring weapon systems to full capacity. Sir? The engineer's voice crackled over the speaker. But the limiters prevent us from exceeding safe power levels. There is nothing safe about today, Chief. Remove them. Aye, Captain. But, sir, if we remove the limiters, our weapons output will increase by 400%. Our engines will exceed any known performance standards. The other species will realize we have been holding back. Good, Min Jun said. Let them realize. The remembrance began to change. Panels slid open along its hull, revealing weapons that were not there before. Or rather, weapons that were always there, just hidden. The ship's energy signature tripled. Its sensor profile expanded. On the view screen, the Zancor fleet attacking Harmony Station suddenly looked very small. Hail them, Min Jun ordered. A surprised Zancor commander appeared on the screen. He started to speak, but Min Jun cut him off. Zancor Fleet, this is Captain Min Jun Choi of Human Military Vessel Remembrance. You have attacked civilian targets. You have killed innocent people. This is your only warning. You have 24 hours to withdraw to Zancor territory. If you do not, we will remove you. The Zancor commander laughed. One human ship threatens my entire fleet? You are insane. Perhaps, Min Jun agreed. But I am also telling you the truth. 24 hours. Use them wisely. He ended the transmission. His crew stared at him. Sir, the tactical officer said, we are still just one ship. They have 20 vessels. How can we possibly force them to withdraw? Min Jun turned to the view screen. In the distance, space began to shimmer. One by one, ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. First 10, then 50, then 200. All of them bearing human markings, all of them uncloaking, revealing weapons and capabilities that should not exist. We are not one ship, Lieutenant, Min Jun said softly. We have never been one ship. We have been an entire fleet. We just let the galaxy believe otherwise. His tactical officer's mouth hung open. The merchant vessels, the cargo ships, the civilian transports, they are all warships? Some are warships, some are weapons platforms, some are carriers hiding fighter craft. Min Jun folded his hands. We built them during the peace years. We told the galaxy they were for trade and exploration. We did not lie. They can carry cargo and passengers. But they can also carry enough firepower to level a small moon. Why? The officer asked. Why hide all this? Min Jun thought about that question. Because Admiral Kim believed in peace. He truly did. But he also believed in being prepared. He said the best weapon is one you never have to use. For 15 years, we never had to use these ships. For 15 years, peace was enough. His expression hardened. But the Zancor forced our hand. They mistook mercy for weakness. Now they will learn the difference. On the Vengeance Rising, Admiral Thexkor stared at the tactical display with growing confusion. Human ships were appearing everywhere, around every colony, near every Zancor fleet position, hundreds of them, all of them showing weapon signatures far beyond what intelligence predicted. How? He whispered. Our spies said the humans dismantled their military. Our sources confirmed it. His tactical officer's voice shook. "Admiral, I think the humans fooled everyone. These ships are not new. The power signatures suggest they are 15 years old. They have been hidden this entire time." Thexkor felt ice in his stomach. "What are you saying?" "I am saying, sir, that humanity never disarmed. They just made us think they did." Before Thexkor could respond, every Zankor ship received the same transmission. It played simultaneously across every channel. The voice was human, male, old but strong. "Zankor forces, this is General Hyejin Song of the Human Defense Fleet. You have 24 hours to return to your territory. After that time, we will consider any Zankor military vessel outside your borders to be hostile. We will disable those vessels and take them as prizes of war. You will not be harmed if you surrender. You will not be killed if you flee. But you will not be allowed to continue this aggression. The choice is yours. Choose peace and live. Choose war and learn why humanity offered you mercy 15 years ago. 24 hours. We suggest you use them to go home." The transmission ended. Thexkor stood frozen. Around him, his crew looked terrified. In the distance, the human fleet waited, silent, patient, overwhelming. For the first time since the war began, Thexkor felt afraid. Admiral Thexkor paced his bridge like a caged animal. The 24-hour deadline came and went. He did not withdraw. His pride would not allow it. High Commander Vex Thul sent orders to push forward, to show the humans that Zankor resolve could not be broken. But now, staring at the tactical display, Thexkor wondered if pride was another word for stupidity. "Admiral," his censor officer reported, "the human fleet is moving, all vessels. They are forming attack formations around our positions." "How many ships do they have?" Thexkor demanded. The officer checked his console twice before answering. "Current count is 3,500 vessels, sir, and more are appearing every hour." 3,500. The number crushed Thexkor's confidence like a physical weight. Intelligence said humanity had maybe 500 ships. Maybe. Instead, they had 7 times that number, maybe more. "Where did they hide them all?" he whispered. Nobody on the bridge had an answer. On Earth, in a military command center that officially did not exist, General Hyejin Song studied holographic displays showing the entire theater of war. She was 70 years old now, her hair completely white, but her eyes remained sharp as broken glass. She had retired after the First War ended. She built a small house by the ocean. She taught children at the local school. She tried to forget the smell of burning ships and the sound of dying soldiers. But when High Command called 3 days ago, she knew her peaceful life was over. Some things demanded a response. Some violations could not be ignored. "General," one of her aides said, "all fleets report ready status, awaiting your orders." Song looked at the display showing Zankor positions. 40 separate fleet groups, each one threatening a human colony. Each one filled with soldiers who thought they could murder civilians without consequence. She felt the old rage return, the cold, calculating rage that made her humanity's most effective commander during the last war. She thought she buried that rage forever. But the Zankor dug it up again. "Send to all fleet commanders," she said quietly. "Begin Operation Reckoning. Disable enemy vessels where possible. If they resist, destroy them. If they surrender, take them prisoner. If they flee, let them go. We are still human. We still have standards. Make sure our people remember that." "Yes, General." Song turned to another aide. "What is the status of Ambassador Park?" "She is in orbit, General, aboard the diplomatic vessel Harmony. She insists on observing the operation." Song smiled slightly. Ji-Woo Park was a good woman. Tough. Smart. Song remembered when Ji-Woo was just a young translator, fresh from university. Now she was humanity's voice to the galaxy, and that voice had just declared war. "Get me a channel to the ambassador," Song ordered. Moments later, Jiwoo's face appeared on the screen. She looked tired, sad, but determined. "General," Jiwoo said, "are we really doing this?" "The Zancor made the choice, Ambassador. We are simply following through." 15 years, Jiwoo said softly. 15 years of building trust, of showing mercy, all wasted. "Not wasted," Song corrected. "We proved something important. We proved that humanity can choose peace even after winning a war. We gave the galaxy hope that violence is not inevitable." Her expression hardened. "But we also need to prove something else now. We need to prove that choosing peace does not mean accepting abuse. The galaxy must learn that humanity's mercy comes from strength, not weakness." Jiwoo nodded slowly. "I understand, General. Do what you must. But please, try to minimize casualties, even Zancor casualties. Most of their people did not want this war." "I will do my best, Ambassador." Song out. The channel closed. Song turned back to her displays. The operation was beginning. At Colony New Busan, one of the colonies destroyed in the first attack, Captain Minjun Choi brought the Remembrance into position. Around him, 50 other human warships did the same. Below them, on the colony surface, medical teams worked frantically to save the wounded. "Zancor fleet holding position," his tactical officer reported. "They are not withdrawing." Minjun studied the enemy formation. 12 Zancor battleships, each one carrying enough firepower to level a city. Each one commanded by officers who thought they could attack civilians without consequences. "Hail them," Minjun ordered. The Zancor commander who appeared on screen was young, arrogant. His expression showed contempt. "Have you come to surrender, human?" the Zancor asked. "Smart choice." Minjun smiled coldly. "No. I came to give you one last chance. Power down your weapons. Prepare to be boarded. You will be taken prisoner and tried for war crimes." The Zancor commander laughed. "You think 12 of your ships can take 12 of mine?" "I think," Minjun said carefully, "that you are very bad at counting." He gestured. On the view screen, space around the Zancor fleet suddenly filled with human vessels. They dropped stealth fields. They uncloaked. They revealed themselves from behind asteroids and debris fields. 50 ships became 200. The Zancor commander's laughter died. "Last chance," Minjun repeated. "Surrender now." The Zancor commander's face twisted with rage. "Never! Fire! Fire on all human ships!" The Zancor fleet opened fire. Weapons blazed across the darkness of space. Energy bolts and missiles streaked toward human positions. Not a single shot hit its target. Minjun watched calmly as his ship's defensive systems intercepted every projectile. Laser fire splashed harmlessly against shields that were designed to withstand much worse. The Zancor were using weapons from the old war. Humanity had spent 15 years improving their defenses. "Return fire," Minjun ordered. "Target weapons and engines only. Disable them." The human fleet responded with precision that bordered on artistic. Every shot hit exactly where intended. Zancor weapon systems exploded. Engine cores shut down. In less than 3 minutes, the entire Zancor fleet was crippled. Not a single Zancor ship was destroyed. Not a single Zancor crew member killed. Every vessel was simply rendered unable to fight or flee. "Zancor fleet," Minjun said calmly. "You are now disabled. Prepare to be boarded. Resistance will be met with force. Cooperation will be rewarded with fair treatment. Choose wisely." On the Zancor flagship, the young commander stared at his dead console with shock. Around him, his bridge crew sat in stunned silence. They had not even scratched the human ships. Meanwhile, their own vessels were completely helpless. "What are they?" someone whispered. The commander had no answer. Similar scenes played out across human space. Zancor fleets, confident in their superiority, encountered human forces that outmatched them in every way. Speed, firepower, tactics, technology. The gap was not small. It was enormous. At the Galactic Council, emergency session was in full progress. Representatives from dozens of species watched live feeds of the battles. What they saw terrified them. "This is impossible," one delegate said. "How did humanity hide this much military power?" Council mediator Ralesh studied the displays carefully. His old eyes saw what others missed. "They did not hide it," he said slowly. "We simply did not look. We assumed that because humans spoke of peace, they must be weak. We mistook their choice for inability." "But they said they disarmed," another delegate protested. "No," Ralesh corrected. "They said they offered peace. They said they would not be the aggressor. They never said they would be defenseless." On the display, another Zancor fleet surrendered. The human forces accepted the surrender professionally. No revenge, no cruelty, just efficient capture and processing of prisoners. "They are still showing restraint," Ralesh observed. "Even now, after being attacked, they minimize casualties. They could slaughter the Zancor fleets. Instead, they disable them." "Why?" someone asked. Ralesh thought about that. "Because they meant what they said about peace. Because even when forced to fight, they refuse to become monsters. That is what makes them truly dangerous, not their weapons." Their principles. High Commander Vexthul received the reports in his command center on the Zancor homeworld. Each one brought worse news. Fleet 7, destroyed. Fleet 12, captured. Fleet 23, disabled. On and on. Out of 40 Zancor fleets, 37 were already neutralized. "How?" he roared. "How are they everywhere at once?" His intelligence chief, an old soldier who survived the First War, spoke carefully. "Commander, I believe humanity never stopped preparing for war. The peace years were not a time of rest for them. They were a time of planning, of building, of positioning assets. But our spies said, "Our spies saw what the humans wanted us to see," the intelligence chief interrupted. "Every cargo ship they built could carry weapons. Every space station could hide military equipment. Every colony could conceal defense platforms. We thought they were building a merchant empire. They were building an invisible fortress." Vexthul sat heavily in his chair. Around him, his command staff looked defeated. 15 years of planning, 15 years of preparation. All of it wasted because humanity was better at planning, better at preparation. "What do we do?" he asked quietly. Before anyone could answer, every screen in the command center activated simultaneously. General Song's face appeared. Old, tired, but utterly unyielding. "High Commander Vexthul," she said, "your fleets are defeated. Your invasion has failed. I am offering you the same terms we offered 15 years ago. Surrender. Face trial for your crimes, accept limitations on your military, or continue fighting and force us to destroy you completely. You have 1 hour to decide. I suggest you choose carefully. Humanity showed you mercy once. We are offering it again. Do not mistake that offer for weakness. It comes from strength, from certainty that we can end you if necessary. 1 hour, Commander. Make it count." The transmission ended. Vexthul stared at the blank screen. 1 hour to decide his people's fate. 1 hour to choose between survival and annihilation. He thought about all the speeches he made about Zancor pride, about how they would never bow to humans again, about how mercy was for the weak. Now he understood. Mercy was not weakness. It was the luxury of the strong. Humanity had been strong enough to show mercy 15 years ago. They were strong enough to show it again now. The question was whether the Zancor were smart enough to accept it. Vexthul reached for the communications console with a shaking hand. Admiral Thexkor made his decision. He chose pride over wisdom. When General Song's ultimatum arrived at his flagship, he deleted it without watching. When his officers suggested surrender, he had them removed from the bridge. When his sensor officer reported that human forces were closing in from all directions, he ordered the fleet to fight to the last ship. "We are Zancor," he announced to his crew. "We do not surrender. We do not bow. We fight until death takes us." The crew, trained to obey, prepared for battle. But many of them felt cold fear in their hearts. They saw what happened to the other fleets. They knew this fight would not end well. Captain Minjun Choi watched Thexcor's fleet assume attack formation. He shook his head sadly. "They are going to fight." "Confirmed, Captain," his tactical officer said. "They are powering weapons, charging faster than light drives to ram positions." Minjun sighed. He really hoped they would choose differently. "All ships, defensive formation Delta. Prepare to disable enemy vessels. Remember the rules of engagement. We are still the good people in this fight. Act like it." The human fleet moved with mechanical precision. Each ship knew its role. Each captain had trained for this exact scenario. Humanity spent 15 years studying Zancor tactics. They knew every trick, every strategy, every desperate move a cornered fleet might make. Thexcor's fleet charged forward, weapons blazing, engines screaming. It was brave, it was foolish, it was hopeless. The human fleet's response was almost gentle. They did not meet the charge head-on. Instead, they flowed around it like water around rocks. Their weapons targeted specific systems with surgical accuracy. One by one, Zancor ships found themselves unable to maneuver, unable to fire, unable to do anything except drift in space. On the Vengeance Rising, Thexcor watched his fleet fall apart. His tactical display showed ship after ship going dark, not destroyed, just disabled. The humans were still trying to minimize casualties even as his people tried to kill them. It made him angrier. Why would they not just fight properly? Why show mercy to those trying to murder them? "All remaining ships," he ordered, "ram the nearest human vessel. If we cannot win, we take them with us." 5 Zancor ships responded to his order. Their engines burned at maximum power. They aimed directly at human cruisers, their crews prepared to die. But they never reached their targets. The human ships simply moved. Faster than Zancor sensors could track, faster than should be possible. The ramming ships passed through empty space where human vessels had been microseconds before. Then carefully, precisely, human ships disabled those 5 vessels too. Not with overwhelming firepower, just targeted shots to engines and control systems. The Zancor crews sat in their dead ships, alive but defeated. Minjun opened a channel to Thexcor's flagship. "Admiral, your fleet is defeated. You have no functional ships remaining except your flagship. Power down your weapons. This does not need to end with your death." Thexcor's face appeared on the screen. His eyes were wild, his expression manic. "I will die before I surrender to humans." "That can be arranged," Minjun said quietly. "But I would prefer you live, face trial, accept responsibility for what you did. That takes more courage than dying." "Courage?" Thexcor laughed bitterly. "You speak to me of courage. You, who hide behind superior numbers and technology." "We have superior numbers because we prepared," Minjun replied calmly. "We have superior technology because we never stopped learning. You had 15 years to do the same. You chose to waste them on revenge instead." He leaned forward. "Admiral, your crews are alive. Your ships are disabled, not destroyed. We are still trying to save lives, even yours. Please do not force us to kill you." For a long moment, Thexcor said nothing. His hands gripped the arms of his command chair. His mind raced through options. But every path led to the same conclusion. He lost. His pride cost his people everything. "My crew," he finally said. "What happens to them?" "Prisoner of war status," Minjun answered. "Fed, housed, treated according to galactic conventions, eventually tried for their crimes but with fair legal process." Some may go free if they were following orders. Others will face punishment, but they will all be treated humanely. And me? You will face trial for ordering attacks on civilian targets. The evidence is clear. The punishment will be severe. But you will have legal representation. You will be allowed to speak in your defense. You will be treated with the basic dignity every sentient being deserves. Thexcor felt tears forming, not from sadness, from rage at his own stupidity. He had everything he needed to avoid this. 1 hour. One simple choice. Instead, he chose death and glory. He got defeat and shame instead. "I surrender," he whispered. Then louder, "I order my flagship to stand down. We surrender." Around the galaxy, similar scenes played out. Zancor commanders, seeing the hopelessness of their situation, made the choice their admiral could not make fast enough. They surrendered. They accepted defeat. They chose life over pointless death. Only 3 fleet commanders refused completely. They fought until their ships exploded, until every crew member died. The humans tried to save them even then, targeting life support systems, creating chances for escape pods. But pride and fury made those commanders blind. General Song watched the casualty reports with heavy heart. 50,000 human civilians dead in the initial attacks. 3,000 Zancor military dead in the battles. Every death was a waste. Every body was a failure of peace. But she also saw another number. 15,000 Zancor crew members captured alive. Prisoners who would face justice, but also mercy. Soldiers who would tell their people what happened. How humanity offered them chance after chance to surrender. How even in righteous anger, humans tried to minimize casualties. "General," her aide said, "High Commander Vex Thul is requesting to speak with you." Song nodded. "Put him through." Vex Thul appeared on her screen. He looked old suddenly, defeated. All the arrogance was gone from his eyes. "General Song," he said quietly, "the Zancor Imperium surrenders, unconditionally. We accept any terms you offer." Song studied his face. She saw genuine defeat there. Real understanding of what he threw away. "Commander, you are under arrest for crimes against sapient beings. You ordered attacks on civilian populations. You violated the peace treaty. You betrayed the trust humanity showed your people. You will stand trial." "I understand," Vex Thul said. "I ask only one thing. Please, do not punish my people for my crimes. Most Zancor never wanted this war. I lied to them. I told them humanity was planning to attack. I told them we needed to strike first. They believed me because I was their leader. Punish me. Punish my military command, but spare the innocent." Song considered this. Part of her wanted to reject his plea. Wanted to make every Zancor suffer as humans suffered. But that was the old rage talking, the rage that won wars but lost peace. "The innocent will not be punished," she finally said, "but your military will be dismantled. Completely this time. No secret factories, no hidden fleets. Human observers will oversee the process. Your warship production will be limited for the next 50 years, and you, Commander, will spend the rest of your life in prison. Fair trial, fair punishment, but prison nonetheless." Vex Thul nodded slowly. "Thank you, General, for showing mercy again, even after we proved we did not deserve it." "We show mercy because it is who we are," Song replied. "Not because of who you are. That is the difference between us, Commander. You see mercy as weakness to exploit. We see it as strength to maintain. Perhaps after 50 years of occupation, your people will finally understand." The transmission ended. Song turned to her staff. "Begin Phase 2. Humanitarian aid to affected colonies. Rebuild what was destroyed. Help the wounded. Show the galaxy that humans build better than we destroy." On the Galactic Council, emergency session continued. The delegates watched humanity's victory with complex emotions: fear, respect, confusion. The humans could have annihilated the Zancor. Instead, they captured them, disarmed them, but let them live. "I do not understand humans," one delegate admitted. "They fight like demons, but show mercy like angels. How can they be both?" Council mediator Raulesh smiled slightly. "Because they choose to be both. That is their great strength and their great danger. They are capable of terrible violence, but they are also capable of equally powerful restraint. They could rule this galaxy by force. Instead, they choose to lead by example." "Will others follow that example?" someone asked. Raulesh looked at the display showing human ships helping Zancor survivors evacuate damaged vessels. Human medical teams treating Zancor wounded, human engineers stabilizing Zancor ships to prevent reactor explosions. "I hope so," he said quietly. "For all our sakes, I hope so." In his prison cell aboard a human vessel, Admiral Thexkor sat in silence. The cell was clean, warm. He had food, water, a bed, guards who spoke to him with professional courtesy, not cruelty. He thought about his fleet, his crews, his people. He thought about the civilians who died because of his orders. He thought about 15 years of peace that he helped destroy. And he wept, not for himself, but for all the wasted chances, all the thrown-away opportunities, all the mercy he received and rejected. A human guard looked through the cell door. "Are you okay, Admiral?" Thexkor looked up with wet eyes. "You called me Admiral. Even now you show me respect." The guard shrugged. "You were an admiral. You made terrible choices, but that does not erase your rank. My general says we fight with honor. That includes how we treat prisoners. Your general is a wise being." "She is," the guard agreed. "She also wants me to tell you that your trial will be fair. You will have lawyers. You will be allowed to present your defense. It will not save you from punishment, but you will have your say." Thexkor nodded. "Thank you. Please tell your general. Tell her the Zancor people are lucky. Lucky that humanity showed mercy twice. Not every species would." The guard left. Thexkor sat alone with his thoughts and his regrets. Outside his cell, stars moved past the window. The war was over. Humanity won. And somehow, impossibly, they remained the good people of the story. He wondered how they managed that, how they stayed human even when others treated them like monsters. He supposed that was the question his people would spend the next 50 years trying to answer. 3 months after the war ended, Ambassador Jiwoo Park stood once again in the Galactic Council chambers. The room looked the same. The delegates looked the same. But everything felt different. The galaxy looked at humanity with new eyes now. Eyes that held respect, fear, and something close to awe. "Honored Council," Jiwoo began. "I come today to present the final terms of the Human Zancor Peace Treaty." Council mediator Raulesh gestured for her to continue. Around the chamber, representatives leaned forward. Everyone wanted to know what price humanity would demand for their victory, what punishment they would inflict on the Zancor for betrayal. "First," Jiwoo said, reading from her tablet, "all Zancor military forces are to be reduced to defensive levels only. No offensive warships, no weapons of planetary destruction. Human observers will monitor compliance for 50 years. Murmurs filled the chamber. That was expected. Harsh, but fair. Second, High Commander Vexthul and Admiral Thexkor have been tried and convicted of war crimes. They will serve life imprisonment. Their command staff received sentences ranging from 10 to 50 years, depending on their level of responsibility. More murmurs, also expected. The trials were fair, broadcast across the galaxy. No one could claim human justice was cruel. Third, Jiwoo continued, humanity will help rebuild the Zancor vessels we disabled during the war. We will return them as civilian craft, suitable for trade and exploration, but not warfare. Silence filled the chamber. That was not expected. Fourth, we will provide humanitarian aid to Zancor colonies affected by the war. Medical supplies, food, construction materials, free of charge. Now the delegates stared openly. One representative stood. Ambassador Park, forgive me, but I do not understand. The Zancor attacked you, killed your civilians, betrayed your trust. Why do you reward them with aid? Jiwoo looked at the delegate calmly. We are not rewarding the Zancor government. We are helping the Zancor people. Most of them never wanted this war. They were lied to by their leaders. They believed they were acting in self-defense. Should they suffer because their leaders were ambitious and cruel? Another delegate spoke up. But this shows weakness. It tells others they can attack humanity without real consequences. Does it? Jiwoo asked. She activated a holographic display. It showed footage from the war. Human fleets dismantling Zancor forces with ease. Human technology decades beyond what anyone expected. Human military might that terrified even humanity's allies. I think we demonstrated quite clearly what happens to those who attack us. We destroy their military. We capture their leaders. We occupy their space until we are satisfied they cannot threaten us again. She paused. But we do not punish the innocent. We do not become the monsters that others expect us to be. That is not weakness. That is strength. Ralesh nodded slowly. The ambassador speaks wisdom. Humanity proved they can destroy. Now they prove they can also rebuild. Both require strength. But rebuilding requires something more. It requires hope. Exactly, Jiwoo said. We hope that the Zancor can change. We hoped it 15 years ago. They disappointed us. But we hope again. Because the alternative is extermination or eternal occupation. Neither option makes us better. Neither option creates lasting peace. General Hye-jin Song, sitting in the observer section, watched Jiwoo with pride. The young ambassador learned well. She understood the balance between strength and mercy, between punishment and forgiveness, between justice and hope. After the council session ended, Song met with Jiwoo in private chambers. You did well, Song said. Thank you, General. Jiwoo looked tired. But I wonder sometimes if we are being foolish. The Zancor betrayed us once. What if they do it again? Song poured them both tea, an old Earth tradition that brought comfort. They might, she admitted, but consider the alternative. If we crush them completely, make them suffer, show no mercy, what do we create? A species that hates us forever, a species that will teach their children to hate us. A species that will wait generations for revenge. She sipped her tea. But if we show mercy again, if we help them rebuild again, if we prove that humanity keeps its principles even when betrayed, we create something else. What? Jiwoo asked. Shame, Song said simply. The Zancor who lived through this will remember. They attacked us. We defeated them. And then we helped them again. That creates shame, the good kind of shame, the kind that makes people question themselves. That makes them change. Jiwoo considered this. You think shame is more powerful than fear? I know it is. Fear creates hatred. Shame creates reflection. One leads to more violence, the other leads to change. On the Zancor homeworld, a young civilian named Krell watched the council broadcast with his family. They sat in their small home eating dinner, trying to process everything that happened. I do not understand, Krell's mother said. Why do the humans help us? We killed their people. Krell's father, an old soldier who fought in the First War, stared at his food. Because they are better than us. We thought mercy was weakness. They showed us it was strength. We thought peace was surrender. They showed us it was choice. He looked up with wet eyes. We were wrong about everything. Krell thought about the past 3 months. The human occupation was not what anyone expected. The human soldiers were professional, polite. They helped rebuild damaged buildings. They shared medical supplies. They protected Zancor civilians from criminals taking advantage of the chaos. Everyone expected conquerors. They got guardians instead. "Father," Krell said carefully, "in your war, did you ever see humans act cruel?" The old soldier thought about that. "No. Even when we did terrible things to them, they followed their rules. They treated prisoners well. They helped wounded enemies. We thought they were stupid for it." He shook his head. "But they were not stupid. They were human. And being human means something different than being Zancor." "What does it mean?" "It means choosing to be better even when no one is watching, even when it costs you, even when others exploit your goodness." The old soldier looked at his son. "The humans could have killed us all. Twice now they had that chance. Twice they chose differently. That is what being human means." Krell made a decision that night. He applied to the new Human Zancor Cultural Exchange Program. Humans were offering to teach Zancor students about their history, their philosophy, their way of thinking. Most Zancor avoided the program, seeing it as propaganda. But Krell wanted to understand. He needed to understand how a species could be so powerful yet so restrained, so capable of violence yet so committed to peace. 6 months later, he sat in a classroom on Earth. The teacher was an old woman named Professor Min-seo Kim. She taught philosophy and ethics. Her hair was white, her hands shook slightly, but her mind was sharp. "Today," she said to the class of young Zancor students, "we discuss a difficult question. What is true strength?" One student answered immediately. "Military power, weapons, the ability to destroy enemies." Professor Kim smiled. "That is one kind of strength. What else?" Another student spoke. "Economic power, resources, the ability to control trade." Also true. What else? Krell raised his hand hesitantly. "The ability to show mercy?" The classroom went quiet. Other students looked at him like he said something crazy, but Professor Kim's smile widened. "Yes. Explain your thinking, Krell." "Anyone can kill when they are strong," Krell said slowly. "That takes no special courage. The strong can always crush the weak. But to be strong enough to kill and then choose not to, that takes different strength. Harder strength." Professor Kim nodded. "Go on." "When humanity defeated us the first time, you could have ended my species. Instead, you rebuilt us. When we betrayed you, you defeated us again. And again, you chose to help rather than hurt. That is—" Krell struggled for words. "That is strength I do not understand yet. But I want to." Professor Kim walked to the window. Outside, Earth stretched beautiful and green. "Humanity was not always like this," she said quietly. "In our ancient history, we were cruel to each other. We fought endless wars. We committed terrible crimes. We nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times." She turned back to the class. "But we learned, slowly, painfully. We learned that true strength is not in what you can destroy. It is in what you can build, what you can protect, what you choose not to destroy even when you could." "But what if others exploit that?" a student asked. "What if they attack you because they think you are weak?" "Then we defend ourselves," Professor Kim said simply. "As you saw, we keep our weapons, we maintain our military, we prepare for war. But we do not desire war. We do not celebrate violence. We do it only when we must." She looked at each student. "The goal is not to be harmless. The goal is to be dangerous but choose to be peaceful. There is a difference." Krell wrote that down. He would think about it for years to come. Back on the Galactic Council, 1 year after the war, a historic vote took place. The question was simple. Should humanity be given permanent leadership position on the Council? Should they be granted authority over galactic peacekeeping operations? Every species voted yes, even the Zancor representative. Jiwoo stood to accept the responsibility, but her words surprised many. We accept this position with gratitude and humility, but we do not want to rule the galaxy. We want to serve it. Our goal is not to impose human values on others. It is to prove that peace is possible, that mercy is strength, that different species can coexist without constant conflict. She looked around the chamber. 15 years ago, we ended a war with mercy. We were betrayed. We responded with force. But then we showed mercy again. Some say this makes us weak. We say it makes us human. And we will continue to be human, no matter what challenges come. We will continue to choose peace when possible, justice when necessary, and mercy whenever we can, because that is who we are. That is who we choose to be. The chamber erupted in applause. Even species that feared humanity's power respected their principles. General Song, now retired for the second time, watched the broadcast from her home by the ocean. She smiled. Jiwoo would lead humanity well into the future, a future of strength and mercy balanced perfectly. Her grandchild ran up, a young girl named Hana. Grandmother, teacher says you were a great warrior. Is that true? Song picked up the child. I was a soldier. I did what was necessary to protect our people. Did you kill many enemies? I did what I had to do. But Hana, the real victory was not in the killing. It was in the peace that came after. In the choice to help instead of hurt. In the decision to show mercy when we could have shown cruelty. She kissed the child's forehead. Remember that. Being strong means knowing you could hurt someone and choosing not to. That is the lesson I hope your generation never forgets. Hana nodded, not fully understanding but trusting her grandmother's wisdom. Far away in his prison cell, High Commander Vexthul received a letter. It was from a Zancor child. A young girl who wanted to thank the human doctors who saved her mother after the war. The girl said she hoped someday Zancor could be like humans, strong but kind, powerful but merciful. Vexthul read the letter 3 times. Then he folded it carefully and kept it, a reminder of what he destroyed and what humanity preserved despite his best efforts. They gave the Zancor 15 years of peace. His people returned it with death and ruin, and humanity's response was to offer peace again, not because they were weak, not because they were naive, but because they chose to be better than their enemies expected. That, Vexthul finally understood, was true power. The power to remain human even when treated like monsters. The power to choose mercy even when vengeance was justified. The power to hope even when hope seemed foolish. Humanity terrified the galaxy not because of their weapons, but because they refused to become the monsters their weapons could make them. They chose civilization over conquest, every single time. That was strength the Zancor never understood. But maybe, given enough time and enough examples, they would learn. And maybe that learning would be worth all the pain and death and betrayal. Maybe, just maybe, humanity's impossible hope would prove justified after all.